Hi everyone, it's Ariel with Arielpaints, and today I'm going to take you along on a face painting gig with me. This is an event in my neighborhood that I do every year, and I want to first show you my setup. I've got my stop sign that on the opposite side says face painting is now open. I have my word board with all my choices and my tip jar. I usually put down a piece of tape, usually caution tape color, and I write on that tape with a Sharpie that says line starts here or please stay behind the line, something to just keep the kids where I want them to be so they don't completely engulf us and overtake our area. This really does help, so I highly recommend it. And here is my favorite face painter ever, Erica with Queen Bee Face Painting. And this is my kit, my Craft and Go, my chair, and my small Craft and Go that is currently filled with glitter and is my glitter station. I also communicated to the parents and children that I was filming for YouTube and gave them the option to have the camera turned off if they were not okay with that. I also had waivers signed for photography. So let's get into it, and I will show you who I painted and give you some tips and tricks. My first customer was this really sweet dad whose son was also getting a truck, sitting in Erica's chair, and they picked similar colors. I'm using my ooze stencils and star blends and some glitter. He was very, very happy. My next customer wanted a butterfly, but she did not want a full face butterfly, so I am taking a Flora brush and I'm just creating wings similar to how I would create petals for a flower and just doing a cheek butterfly with some glitter. This is a really easy and effective way to do cheek art quickly. This young lady wanted a tiger and she chose her colors as well. I let her pick a rainbow cake out of my kit. I'm starting with star blends and I'm going over the eyes. I'm doing a diamond in the center of the forehead and then doing the muzzle. Then I pick up paint on a sponge with the split she chose, and then when the paint is wet, I spray it with glitter, and I do this in sections. Otherwise, it's going to dry too quickly, and the fine glitter is not going to stick to the paint because it's not wet. So do stop and pause and make sure that you're spraying wet paint with glitter. Otherwise, it just is going to fall all over their clothing, and it's not fun. Once the base work is done, it's just a matter of taking your favorite brush. I love to use dagger brushes for tigers, and usually a split. You can kind of see the gradient here. I'm using like a cake that had a dark navy blue and some turquoise, and doing all the little details. I add fangs, sometimes I add some chunky glitter, and then she is all done. Another tip I have for you: when you are spraying kids with fine glitter and those glitter spritzers, tell them they're going to feel like a poof of air, and that way it doesn't scare them and they don't flinch. This young lady wanted an Among Us character. I always let the kids pick what color they want. She wanted pink, so I am just going to paint that on the cheek. I do something different for like extra design on these all the time. Sometimes I use stencils, sometimes I do a rainbow, I add glitter. You can do so many different things and switch it up in a lot of different ways. This young man requested a shark, and Erica and I were switching up our choices right before the event, and we put shark on the board. I hadn't painted a shark for maybe a year or something, so the whole time I was painting this, I was trying to remember how I usually paint a shark, which happens to all of us. And one of the reasons I like doing these videos is to show you that my on-the-job work, it's not perfect, it's not flawless, it's real on-the-job work. And real on-the-job work is very different than Instagram editorial pictures that people take of a design they took an hour to do at home. So I think that's really important for new painters to understand and recognize. It's something I didn't recognize in the beginning, so I hope that helps someone who's just starting face painting. Coming up later, another young man asked me for a shark, so when I show you guys that footage, I will go over a little bit the differences between this shark and the other shark I did when I had it a little bit more in the forefront of my mind as to how I paint sharks. but he really liked it and it ended up pretty cute. So all good in the end. I'm going to slow this down to go over butterflies because I know it's something that people struggle with a lot. So I'm doing a combo. I'm doing a sponged base, and then I'm going to do a one-stroke line work to finish the butterfly off. I do use a new sponge for every child, whether it's a butterfly or a tiger, whatever it may be. I did ask her if she wanted me to match her outfit, and she said yes, so I picked this cake, which works nicely. When you are doing sponge work on the right and left side of the face, you want to make sure when you load your sponge, you're loading the entire bottom of the sponge, not just one corner of the sponge. That way, when you do the right side and the left side, the paint will apply in a similar way and you won't struggle so much with asymmetry. Another thing to note is that I'm applying the colors in sections. So I'm applying the right side of the sponge, pushing down onto the middle, and then pushing onto the left side of the sponge. A lot of people, when they're doing sponge work, they push the entire sponge down, and you don't really get consistent color that way. You have to manipulate the sponge, pinch the sponge, use the sponge as a tool to apply the color where you want it to be. For the bottom wing, I am going to flip the sponge so I have the colors line up, and then I pinch it together and I just dab right on the top of the cheekbone, and I apologize that my hand is covering that. You'll be able to see it a little bit better when I do the other side. That's the only problem with filming in the field, is I can't really stop and check footage. So you can see I am pinching the sponge together, I'm dabbing, I'm making sure the colors line up and that there's consistent color, but you'll notice that the bottom wing is small. It does not pass the bottom of the nose. A big mistake that people make with butterflies is they make that bottom wing huge and heavy, and then you don't have a nice balance to the butterfly. It just looks off. So by the time you do your line work and you add even more bulk to the butterfly, you have this giant bottom wing, and it just does not complement the basic shape of a face. When I am painting kids, I'm also constantly talking to them. So when I grabbed my glitter spritzer, I said to her, hey, you're going to feel a poof of air. It's just my glitter. I'm covering you in glitter. Do you like glitter? You know, I make sure they know what I'm doing so they don't open their eyes, they don't flinch, they don't get scared. And then I also give them breaks. So when I am going to get my paintbrush loaded, I say to them, okay, darling, open your eyes. And I let them have a break. Open their eyes, look around. I might show them the cake that I'm loading. This gives them a minute to recalibrate rather than expecting a child to sit in your chair for 5 to 6 minutes with their eyes completely closed and not moving. That is not realistic. So let them have a break while you are getting ready for the next step. So to finish the butterfly off, I'm taking one of my favorite brushes by Marcella Bustamante and a dark kind of green and navy split cake that I made myself. And I'm just going to trace the outside while pulling the toe of the brush in to create those nice butterfly veins. This part can go very, very quickly when you have a lot of practice and you do it a lot. What I'm doing on the outside is also exactly what I would do for a one-stroke butterfly. I just start with the line work and the one stroke, and then I fill in and continue to fill in with the one stroke rather than already have that base color down. When you are doing the bottom wing, you also want to make sure that you are not extending it too far because you are going to add bulk to it when you're adding this detail, but just do not go down past the mouth. I also do my butterflies differently all the time. It just depends on my mood. The center of the butterfly is always different as well. This time I chose to do a little bit of a diamond shape and do some antenna, which I almost never do. I just decided to. I do like to do these little tails where I just pull the brush down and I press. I think it adds a really cool, interesting detail, so I tend to do that a lot. I don't do dots too much on my butterflies on the job anymore. A lot of times I'll just add some glitter. This is a wax-based glitter, so it can go over the paint. I'm going to fill in the forehead because it gives it this really beautiful, nice sheen, and then I just apply some glitter on that bottom wing, and it's kind of an instead of dots. I add that, and then I wrap it up, and it's all done. All right, this sweet boy wanted a truck, so I'm using my star blends again and adding the truck and the tracks, and he wanted pink glitter, so I'm going to add that. And I will always paint something on someone's arm if it will translate well to an arm, because some kids just don't want stuff on their face, and that is totally fine. Lady requested a mermaid, so I'm starting with Neon Nirvana and doing kind of a half circle, which will be the sunset behind the mermaid. And then I grabbed a split cake, a little bit more turquoise than I would normally use. Normally I do more blue, and I create these wave shapes, and then I just do kind of that ripply water. Did it on the side too, which I never really do, but I kind of like the way it turned out. And then I do the mermaid stencil in the center, and I really do like this mermaid stencil. I can't remember where I got it, but I like it very much. Sometimes I do the little mermaid tail drop on the side. I'll add just a few details, not too many, and then I'll add some mermaid scales. I always add glitter to this, and it's a very easy, effective design. All right, so this gal asked for a spider, so I'm creating a spider. I'm using only a 3/4 inch brush, so note that. I do not change brushes. I use the 3/4 inch even to do the spider web and the line work. This is the fastest, coolest design, I think. Great for Halloween, add glitter to it. You can make it more of a Spider-Man design with red, and then you're not doing a full face Spider-Man on the job when you have like really busy events. So I think it's so fast and so easy, and the kids always love it. This young lady asked me for a rainbow, so I decided to do rainbow eyes and then a rainbow in the middle on the forehead, and then I added clouds. One of the easiest ways to make clouds is to grab a medium to large filbert brush and just press it down and then drag the toe of the brush. Of course, we need to add some glitter, so I chose to do this pretty pink glitter just to complement the rainbow, and then we are all done. Here's one of the sharks that I did later on in the night. The first thing I did was move the shark down closer to his mouth. That way, when he opens his mouth, the shark opens and closes its mouth, which is just a really cute, fun thing for everyone. I kept the shape pretty much the same. I changed the fins for the back fin a little bit more fish-like. And then I also added the red first. I started to do the white prior on the other design. I added a little bit more blood because I asked him if he wanted a scary shark, and he said yes. So started with the red, now I'm moving in with the white, and I do all the white at once for the highlights. And then I grabbed a larger filbert brush to do the teardrops and waves, which I think complements this much better than using the small round brush I did on that first shark. Then I went in with black and I did minimal line work because I don't want this design to take too long. But in the end, I think this looked a little bit better. This young lady told me to paint whatever I wanted. So I asked her if she had favorite colors and stuff like that. So I went ahead and just did a one stroke and some line work with the one stroke. I added some stencils. I will add some glitter and texture, and I just created an abstract design, which is so easy and fun to do, and you can switch it up in so many different ways with different stencils and colors, and she really, really liked it, and it's super fun for me to paint as well. This young man wanted an Among Us design. He wanted it in blue. So I use one strokes to do Among Us. It's so fast and so easy. I have a more detailed tutorial on how to do these on one of my past videos, but it's really easy and kids love Among Us. They just ask for it all the time. So it's something I've been keeping on my board now for a year or two. This sweet young girl wanted a unicorn, and I do usually ask kids, do you want to be a unicorn or do you want a unicorn painted on you? Because I like to switch it up, and sometimes they say they want a unicorn painted on them, so I do it a little differently. One thing to note is that I am using for the horn a sponge that I cut into a horn shape. I have a very detailed video on Instagram about why I do that and how I do that. So if you are interested, go check that out. But this is my typical full face unicorn on the job, moves very quickly and it's effective. Here's another rainbow design I did. I just switched it up a little bit and configured it a little bit differently, but in the end, same elements, a rainbow cake and clouds and glitter. A lot of the kids too, when I asked their parents if it was okay if I filmed and said it was for YouTube, were so excited that they were going to be on YouTube because, as you guys all know, kids are obsessed with YouTube. So I know all the kids were looking in the viewfinder too because they could see themselves. So they also have fun watching me paint them. And I always love talking to the kids. It's one of the best parts of face painting for me is the instant gratification and joy that I get out of it watching them be excited. This young lady asked me for a crown, so I started with a center element with this stencil and glitter, which is one of my favorite stencils. I use it all the time. Then I grab a 3/4 inch brush and a custom split that I just made that I'm in love with. And I add some one-stroke designs and then I do some line work and glitter. Since I know I'm going to get the question, everyone is asking about disinfecting and COVID and how I clean things on the job. I do have a rinse well, so I constantly have clean water. I have a brush bath that's the face painting shop spray for disinfectant that I will clean a brush on the job a little bit more vigorously if I feel like I need to, but I am not doing an alcohol system or anything like that, and I just try to be as sanitary as I can be within reason. So here I am doing another butterfly, this time just more of a rainbow butterfly, but similar concept to the first one that I did. I go ahead and apply the sponge work, and then I grab a one stroke and I do the line work. I'm adding my spray glitter to this one as well. Once you get the hang of this, you can knock out butterflies so quickly. And I very often have parents standing behind me going, how are you doing this so fast? It's muscle memory, it's time. I've done 1,000 of them, so I can just whip them out very quickly. I do a rainbow at the top for this one, add some stars, and I do use star blends often with my stencils. It's a super easy way to do stencil work and not have stencils run because they can be a little difficult with wet paint. I also did clean up some powder that fell down on her nose, so never be afraid to clean stuff up on the job. Take the time to do that, and that way you're never disappointed with having a kid walk away with powder on their face or glitter someplace where you didn't mean it to be. The last design I filmed at this event was another abstract design and a young lady that I paint every year at Ingersoll Live, so I was very happy to see her come back again and see me. I hope this video helps. I hope it helps to see on the job work and that there were some tips and tricks that you find valuable. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, and let me know if you have any questions. I will see you in my next video.